Hello, and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today we are going to talk about foliar feeding. So foliar feeding your plants. Besides delivering food to your plants through their roots, you can apply it directly to their leaves. And that's where the plants will quickly take up nutrients. So what you want to do this when you want to, there's a few reasons why you would want to foliar feed. One of them is if you want to get nutrients to the plants quickly. Because what happens when you foliar feed is you get the nutrients to they are absorbed through the plant stomata. So there's a lot of stomata on the underside of the leaves, and there's also some on the top of leaves. And what happens when you spray that way is the plant will immediately absorb the nutrients. When you water through the soil, it can take up to 2 weeks for the nutrients in the fertilizer to be converted into a form that the roots can then take up. So this is a quick way to give a plant some nutrients when it's nutrient deficient. So if you have, for instance, chlorosis, citrus will get chlorosis. That's where you will have dark leaf veins, but the leaf itself is a lighter color. That's a sign of that. So if you're doing any indoor growing of any citrus, that's something to keep an eye out for. It can happen to other types of plants as well. So that is the foliar feeding is a really good way to do that. Another nice reason to do it is if you have a plant that has been root rotted and you are reviving it, and I have a whole series on that. If that occurs, you definitely do not want to be over watering the plant at the root zone in the soil zone, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up with the root rot back again, or it coming back in full force, or never leaving. So this is a way for you to get some nutrients to the plants as well. Now, in that case, with the root rot situation where you're trying to get nutrients, you would only want to do the foliar feeding if the plant is showing new growth. You don't want to overwhelm it with nutrients when it's still struggling to get out of the shock of having root rot. So just do it when it starts to grow. But it's a good way to give the plants some food, especially if you're concerned about not watering the plant too much. This guy was a revival, the Dieffenbachia revival, Humphrey, part of a series that of the playlist I'll put down below. And so today I am going to give him some foliar feeding. You can use a variety of fertilizers. You want to use a liquid fertilizer. You can make a tea out of something like worm compost and then use that tea. That's fine too. So there's a couple things to keep in mind with doing this. Look on the label. Some of the liquid fertilizers will say you can use it as a foliar feed, some won't. That doesn't mean the ones that don't say that you still can't do it, okay? However, when you see it on the label, then that's a really good sign. But if you don't, you can still use a liquid. What you want to do, and I have used, actually, I'm going to be using on Humphrey this indoor liquid, and then a little bit of this live earth humic acid. I have a video on how important humic acid is to your houseplants as well. So I mixed a little of that in and a little of the indoor gardening, just general indoor fertilizer into this. And so it's all in this spray bottle that I'm going to spray in a minute. And also, very important ingredient. So this is a surfactant. It's an old bottle. You don't really need a whole bunch. There was just a little drop that went into this thing to give you an idea. And what this is, it's a spreader sticker called a spreader sticker. And what happens is it makes the fertilizer stick to the leaves. So you're not just spraying and then it all falls off or it evaporates off. It will make the fertilizer stick to the leaves so that then the leaves, the stomata, can then take in the fertilizer, and then your plant actually is getting some nutrients. It's used a lot with to make a pesticide stick, but you can also use it to make fertilizer stick. So I mixed a little bit of that in here. So you always follow package directions. You'll have to figure out the amount, the ratio for whatever the size of the bottle you're using. You can always do it in a bigger, like a gallon, because a lot of them will say gallon stuff, and then pour it into the bottle itself. So when you do the foliar feeding as well, you want to do underside and overside, so the top side and the underside of the leaves, especially the underside where a lot of the stomata are. You also want a very nice mist. So you're going to need to work until you find a bottle that mists well, because a very thick spray, a lot of it is just going to fall off. So I'm going to go ahead and give him, and I'm shake it first, a nice spraying of this nice fertilizer mix. And he is going to be very happy about that. Another nice thing is it does mist him. It gives him a little misting. I'm going to be doing a video next, actually, so you can watch that one too, about the truth about misting. There's a lot of controversy on the whole misting thing. So give the plant, as you can see, a nice misting, and then you don't need to totally overdo it, but he is actually getting a feeding this way, and it will give him a nice boost, a nice fertilizer boost. I don't recommend always doing the foliar feeding for plants. The reason I don't is because it doesn't feed the soil. It's really important to continue to feed your soil, because that's where your plant roots live, and your plant roots are what make your beautiful upper foliage grow, right? So you want to use this as an in-between, like I said, as something if you see the plant is ailing and in terms of not having enough nutrients, nutrient deficient, that sort of thing. And when you're worried about overwatering with the fertilizer. So a nice balance between fertilizing the soil, feeding the soil and the roots, and feeding the plant through the foliar fertilizing through the foliage. So that is it for foliar feeding. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be informed when we release new videos.